Good morning, everybody. This Manchester United situation, one of a few off the field that causes concern for fans these days. Erik Ten Hag banishing Jadon Sancho from the stadium, from training sessions, etc. Ten Hag has made Sancho train his own after the winger refused to apologise for his social media post, claiming he was being made a scapegoat after the manager told the media that his training was not up to standard. Where do you stand on this? Simon says, as an owner, he would have been across that from the beginning. And Simon, would you like to think that you would have solved this by now, one way or the other?
Yeah, I would like to think that the player would have accepted his role in the order of events in terms of where he sits in the food chain. He is the player. If the manager decides you're not training very well, as far as I'm concerned, that's the end of the discussion. I'm sure all these lily-livered people that have never employed anybody think that it's important to have people running around saying what they want, but you have to have some form of order in an environment. You have to have some sort of hierarchical structure, and you have to have some sort of accountability.
Yeah. OK, well, now the PFA has stepped in, or may step in, it's being reported they're set to do it, to offer its help in a bid to broker a deal, in a bid to end the dispute.
Use the term help very loosely.
What do some of the United fans, what do fans in general of the game think of this? Do you side with Ten Hag, hardline attitude, or do you side with Sancho, who's been banished, albeit reportedly on full pay? Paul's a big Manchester United fan. Paul, good morning. What's your take on it?
Good morning, Jim. Just a great show, and Simon, great podcast as well, by the way.
Thank you, mate.
Don't want to make your head any bigger anyway. Just saying that, listen, last year and stuff and all, Ten Hag give Sancho the chance to go away, get himself right, get his mental health right and stuff like that there. But people keep saying and all about bullying. It's not bullying. He's helped the boy. So he's tried his best to help him. And he's still not performing. I think he's too busy out there with Jesse Lingard and all, and they're playing computer games or whatever and stuff and trying to create a brand for themselves, rather than playing the football. And then people are saying about apologising as well. But if he apologised, he's going to come back. He hasn't performed. So what's the point even of him coming back anyway? When you have the kids like Nacho or Palestri or whatever, who are out there and actually putting in a shift, on Sancho. Sancho's just scared to run at players, scared to take players.
So have you had enough of it, Paul? I mean, would you be glad to see the back of Sancho?
I'd be glad to see the back of him. 2 years, and he's done nothing, whatever, in the 2 years. OK,
Paul, thanks for that. We have Ray, who's a big West Ham fan, but wants to join the discussion, and we're delighted that he does. Ray, good morning. Sancho, what do you think? Is it time up for him?
I'd like to ask Simon, when this interview all came about in the first place,
Yep.
The interview to Erik Ten Hag was, why is Sancho not in your squad today? Now, he's got a squad of 25 players, as all the other Premier League teams have. Why didn't he just say, well, I'm the manager, I've just decided to leave him out today? By bringing it up that he's not training very well, he's going to get us a response either off the fans or off of Sancho himself.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that every Manchester United player apart from Sancho are putting in 100% of the training because it's not reflecting in their performances. And I would look at Ten Hag as if, okay, he's got the authority, he is the manager, as well as Sancho not apologising. It's about these two people. It's gone on for 3 weeks. The PFA are getting involved when it shouldn't really have come to light, So he's training bad, but he could have said, I've left him out. So he's just as much to blame for it.
Well,
all
he obviously thinks.
well.
You've got to look at the body of work that this player's put in, and look at the experiences. This is a player that historically has had issues with his punctuality for England, had issues with his attendances at Borussia Dortmund. So this is not somebody that doesn't come with a track record. This is a player that last year had an issue that we're led to believe was a mental health issue, and Ten Hag obviously intervened because he went to Holland. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone to Holland because the link is clearly Ten Hag. So when you've reached the point where you've tried every last... I agree with you, Ray. I imagine you were particularly frustrated when Dimitri Payet had his little turn at West Ham and wanted to get out the door, and I imagine you would have thought that West Ham were right to stand their ground or have a particular attitude towards him. But the issue here is if you've exhausted all possibilities and the player still doesn't respond, and he's training at a level that you believe, as a manager, is far below the level of acceptance that you have in this football club, it doesn't matter what other people are doing. It matters what he's doing.
Is that fair? Do you think that's fair, Ray?
Yes, that's very fair. I'm just saying this with Sancho. If he did have mental health issues, then this one thing saying, well, he's not training very well, when he obviously thinks he is, could set him back to where he was in the first place 2 years ago when he sent him to Holland. And he's thinking, I'm doing all the right things in his head. Well, I think I'm training okay.
But the tragedy is, Ray, it's not his opinion that's more prevalent. It's the manager's. You can't have, wrong expression, but I'm going to use it because I can't think of a better one. You can't have the lunatics running the asylum. You can't have people, well, I've decided... You can't have
the tail wagging the dog.
Yeah, you can't have, that's a better one. You can't have a tail wagging the dog. You can't have a player saying, well, I actually think I should be in the team. I don't care what you think, manager, because I think I should be in the team. You'll have anarchy there.
No, I get what you're saying. Ray, we liked your call. Thank you for that. Steve, big United fan. Steve, good morning. This has got to come to an end soon, hasn't it? Either way.
It has, yeah. And, great show as usual, boys. But...
Nice, Steve.
I really do agree with Simon on this. Everything Simon said this morning, I think, is bang on point. The fact is, I used to run a big sales company, and we had all sorts of guys that thought they were the bee's knees and everything else. And there's certain levels that you can go to on your way through before it becomes the boss versus the employer. There's a captain in the team that he could have gone and spoken to. There's other people there that he could have said, I think I'm putting the effort in. All the guys that I ever had to chastise and try and get better performance out of just wanted to come and prove me wrong. They were turning up. They were doing more and more every week to get themselves back up there. And I can't understand why he hasn't done that, And the PFA getting involved, as Simon said, probably not the right outfit to be doing it. That's almost like somebody just going to the union, really, and saying, look, it's not going right, but there should be enough support around that United,
Yeah.
I'm fortunate to play a lot of golf with a lot of the ex-players and some of the ex-managers, so I know how much support is around, even before it gets between the player and the manager. And the fact that he's gone to social media shows a very immature attitude from him, I think.
That's interesting, Steve. So if you can canvass opinion for us from behind the scenes as you've described, who's in camp Ten Hag and who's in camp Sancho? What's the percentage divide?
I would say 90% Ten Hag, 10% Sancho. And it's interesting that the 10% Sancho are the players that always thought they were better than what they were.
Good call, Steve. Thank you for that. It's quite interesting, isn't it? He plays golf with a lot of ex-players.
But anyone with a logical mind that's ever been in a position of authority and is fair will look at this and say the player cannot win this argument, neither should he be able to.
Yeah.
The problem is when you've got a sense of entitlement being built up into players, you've got people like Martin Keown sitting across the table constantly telling you that the players are hard done by. You've got the Man City player saying when he's getting his latest 10, 15 million pound contract, saying, well, the last thing we're consulted about is the amount of games. You're consulted in your paycheck. The reasons why you're getting so much money is because of the nature of the way the game's going. So you build this sense of entitlement, and Jadon Sancho would genuinely believe that he was perfectly entitled to do what he did. Because if he didn't believe that, he would have cleared this up and gone, boss, I made a mistake. I'm not happy with what you said about me.
Yeah.
But in the greater scheme of things, I know where I sit on the food chain. Yeah. And so with that in mind, I need to get my head down and deliver an outcome for you. He doesn't think that, does he?
3 weeks on, Simon, it remains unresolved.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.